Police are allowed to question you before reading you your Miranda rights. And most people don't realize that that's exactly when they do the most damage to themselves. Hi, I'm Joel Chorny. I defend people in Arizona's criminal system. This is general legal information, not legal advice. If you're dealing with a real case, talk to a lawyer about your specific situation. Now, I've had clients tell me this exact story. They get pulled over, they think it's minor, just speeding, just a broken taillight. The officer walks up and asks, "Do you know why I stopped you?" And the client thinks that they're being polite, helpful, honest. So they say something like, "Yeah, I was probably going a little fast," or "I only had one drink earlier," or "I'm just tired from work." Nothing dramatic, nothing that feels like a confession. But by the time they call me, those words are already written down. They're already part of the report, and they're already shaping the case. And the client always asks the same question: why didn't they read me my rights first? Well, here's the answer most people don't like. Miranda does not apply just because a police officer is asking questions. Miranda only applies to something very specific: custodial interrogation. And there are two requirements. First, you have to be in custody, meaning your freedom is restricted in a similar way to a formal arrest. Second, you have to be interrogated. You have to be questioned in a way that is designed to get incriminating statements about a crime. If either one of those is missing, Miranda does not apply. And a routine traffic stop usually checks neither box. The Supreme Court addressed this directly in a case called Berkmer v. McCarty. It involved a routine DUI traffic stop, and the court held something very specific. They held that a traffic stop is a seizure, but it is not custody for Miranda purposes. The court acknowledged that a traffic stop restricts your freedom of movement, that you are not free to leave, but that alone does not make it custody. Custody for Miranda purposes means restraints comparable to a formal arrest, and the court said that an ordinary traffic stop does not meet that standard. Legally speaking, a traffic stop is treated as a brief, temporary detention, not custody. The court explained why. First, traffic stops are presumptively brief. Most drivers expect they will answer a few questions, maybe get a citation, and then be allowed to go on their way. Second, traffic stops are public. They happen on the side of the road, often with other people passing by. And because of that, the court said that the atmosphere is far less police-dominated than a station house interrogation. Now, you might not agree with this. You might think that this is absolutely ridiculous, and frankly, I do. But this is what the court held. Now, those two factors together reduce the kind of psychological pressure that Miranda was designed to address. So even though a traffic stop can feel stressful, the court said that it does not create the inherently coercive environment that triggers Miranda warnings. So yes, you're not free to drive away, but the courts say that that is less coercive than being arrested and taken to a station. Public road, short duration, limited purpose. So Miranda has not yet attached. But Berkmer also draws a clear boundary. The court was explicit that this rule only applies to ordinary traffic stops. If a driver is later subjected to restraints comparable to a formal arrest, the analysis changes. Handcuffs, placement in the back of a patrol car, transportation to another location. At that point, the person may be in custody for Miranda purposes. And if questioning continues then, Miranda warnings are required. One more important detail: the officer's private intention does not matter. In Berkmer, the officer had already decided that the driver would be arrested, but the court said that an uncommunicated plan has no legal effect. The only question is how a reasonable person in the driver's position would understand the situation. This is the part that actually matters. Even when Miranda does not apply, your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent already exists. You do not lose that right just because you haven't been warned. So you need to know what to do in that early moment of a stop. Here's a safe, lawful response in English. Officer, I choose to remain silent. That's it. You can also say, I'm not answering questions. In Spanish, you would say, Oficial, prefiero guardar silencio, or no quiero contestar preguntas. You still provide your license, registration, and proof of insurance, and you also make sure not to argue. Do not explain. Do not try to talk your way out of it. Because here's the key phrase I want you to remember. Miranda protects silence. It does not protect talking. Once you speak, the words belong to the report. Now, you might be thinking, if I stay silent, won't that make me look guilty? And I'd say to that, no. Silence is not evidence of guilt. It is a constitutional right. Another one I hear all the time. But what if I'm innocent? Shouldn't I just explain? No. Here's the hard truth. Innocent people talk themselves into trouble all the time. Not because they're lying, but because they're human. They guess, they minimize, they fill silence. And those small innocent statements become inconsistencies later. You might also be thinking, but the officer said I wasn't under arrest. Okay, so, yeah, that may be true, but arrest is not the test. Custody for Miranda is a legal concept, not a feeling. Police are trained to ask questions before Miranda applies. That window exists by design. Now, I'm trying to get you to understand that this is not about being difficult. It's not about disrespecting police. It's about understanding how the system actually works. Rights are not a reward for perfect behavior. They exist to protect everyone, the guilty, the innocent. And the people who are just scared on the side of the road are also meant to be protected by these rights. A system that only protects people who already know the rules is not a fair system. Knowing when Miranda applies and when it does not is part of being an informed citizen. Police can ask questions before reading Miranda. That doesn't mean that you have to answer them. Remember that. I'm Joel Chorny. You have rights. They matter. Protect them. Stay safe. And I'll see you in the next video.